So this principle highlights three key concepts that are important for open data to be timely and comprehensive. That is planning, prioritizing, and consulting users. So these three concepts have a common and the results of clarity, public values. And third one is the accessible and usable. So data become accessible. Accessible means open data is data that anyone can access it easily and use and share among them. So this principle highlights the importance of open data to be discoverable, accessible, and made available without any technical or administrative barriers. So in particular, open data should be discoverable on a central portal provided free of charge and accessible anyone. So open data must be provided in machine readable, open formats and with an open license. Machine readable means a data provided in such way that if you design any computer aided diagnosis system, then machine can read the data. If you generate a data that is not machine readable, so that is also not usable. And fourth principle is comparable and interoperable. So for open data to be effective and useful, it should be easy to compare and combine within and across sectors. So this principle states that data should be structured. There are two types of data, structured and unstructured. That is a broad topic of big data. So data must be structured. Means either it present in the CSV formats or image formats or some proper documentation formats. And it supports interoperability and accessibility and effectiveness use. So commonly agreed data standards play a crucial role in making this happen. And fifth important role of this improved the governance and citizen engagements. So according to the fifth principle is about the use of open data to improve the relationship between and within the government and citizens. It involves transparency and accountability of public officiality, but also the promotion of active citizens, participations, and engagements. So this transparency can improve the public service and help hold governments to account. And last principle says the open data can help super inclusive economic development. For example, greater access to data can make farming more efficient or it can be used to tackle climate change. So it is about the people, business, and inclusive developments. It is also about partnership, education, and developments. So open data can benefit the economy by innovation, creativity, and increase the standard living life. So main drives of the open data set is basically nowadays used research and development purpose. So research bring out new ideas and innovation that leads development process. And data are the key elements of any kind of research. So readily available data are always desired by researchers, which can be satisfied only when the data are open. So there are some sites which provide the open source data repositories for data science. First repository is R data sets. So in R data sets, showing in this websites, so ISO have data repositories. There are various data set present in the different varieties of data. For examples, if some data is bounded data, cattle data, okay, college distance data, okay, how many rows, columns, okay, data is binary or multi-class, okay, various form of data is present, and you can download any one of the data either using CSV format or doc formats. then some data scientists doing perform various type of tasks. Like if you design any computer aided diagnosis system, classification, regression, prediction, or build a recommendation systems. So you can take the data, open data sets. One of the sides is R data sets. The second open data set available in the data.gov. This is the home of the US government websites, which provide the open data source. Here you will find the data, tools, and resources to conduct the research, development, web, and mobile applications like tasks. So there are various type of data set present, which is openly. So in the data.gov, it is the US government website, and there present approximate 3,37,304 data sets that are freely available for doing various type of research and data scientist tasks. For example, agriculture, climates, consumers, economies, educations, energies, etc. These are the open data portals which provide the freely open data sets. Third one is the UCI machine learning repositories, which is the most famous repositories used by the various computer engineering students. So in UCI machine learning repositories, there is also present approximate most of the 622 datasets available there, and they are also present in the various formats. Either they are binary or multi-dimensional datasets. And there is also present the information, how many rows, how many columns, and what type of performed on that data sets. You do either classification, regression, predictions, and also build a recommendation systems by analyzing these data sets. And fourth, broad repository of the data set is the Google Research Dataset, which also provides the various open datasets resources. And in Google Research Dataset, when you search for a particular task, want to need a specific data sets. So there is search, suppose that there is search the ECG signals. So there are 74, 754 fragments or finds related to the ECG data sets. ECG data set is based on the electrocardiogram data sets which identify the various of heart disease. So there are 74 fragments freely available on the Google Research data sets. There is also various types of tasks performed like classification and predictions on the electrocardiogram data set, signal sets. And next one is the Kaggle. Kaggle is most famous website which also provides the various data sets. Here we can search one terms COVID. So you can see here there are given the number 4,176 data sets available regarding to the COVID patients. So different countries share there the data set that is freely available in Kaggle websites. So you can also pick data from Kaggle websites and perform predictions or diagnosis on COVID disease data sets. Not only COVIDs, any types of data set, if you search here, then it gives. And last one is the World Bank open data sets. This URL also, that URL given in below, that also provide the various type of data sets that is freely available to all. So the
Hello.
main concept of open data set, a data
Yeah.
set which is freely available to all without any barriers, and there is no need of any copyrights.
Yeah.
So thank you. Well, any
Yeah.
query?
Presently, I'm at Jalandhar.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. At what time? Yeah. Okay. 2:30 is okay. Fine. Yeah.
बहुत बहुत
Okay.
धन्यवाद
Bye.
सरोज पांडे सर. आपने ओपन डेटा वीक पर अपना एक अच्छा प्रेजेंटेशन किया और निश्चित ही ये लोगों के लिए बहुत हेल्पफुल होगा और लोगों ने जाना होगा कि ओपन डेटा वीक के तहत ओपन डेटा होता क्या है और इसमें हमारी जो आगामी योजना है कि हम क्या करते हैं, ओपन डेटा के बेनिफिट्स क्या होते हैं। अब मैं श्री राव सर से निवेदन करूंगा कि राव सर अपना प्रेजेंटेशन दें, ओपन डेटा के बारे में थोड़ा सा लोगों को बताएं, ओपन डेटा क्या होता है और अपना प्रेजेंटेशन से अपनी शुरुआत करें। सर कोशिश
Okay,
करें
fine.
हिंदी और इंग्लिश मिक्स करके ही बोलें ताकि हमारे जो अधिक व्यूअर्स
Yeah,
जो सब के हैं उनको उनका लाभ मिल सके। सर थैंक यू सर, प्लीज।
take. Right, sir. Can you share my slide?
श्योर सर, आप अपनी स्लाइड शेयर करें सर।
Okay, so I'm not getting. I think already I sent it actually. Yeah. Sir, I already sent it because I'm not getting an
यस
access.
सर, सर हम यहाँ से आपकी स्लाइड शेयर कर रहे हैं सर, प्लीज। ओके सर।
Yeah, fine.
सर स्लाइड दिखाई दे रही है?
Oh, no, sir. Ah, sir. Okay, fine, sir.
ओके सर।
Yeah,
सर
good
आप
afternoon to all.
जी।
Yeah. So thank you, Saroj sir, Pandey sir. The maximum things sir has already covered, and just I am giving a snapshot on that same thing. So because we couldn't repeat the same thing again and again. So I will take you more on practical aspects of the open data, like open government data or linked data. So how exactly I will physically will tell you, talk regarding certain case studies kind of thing, like in what kind of application, how they are using exactly these open data. So that is open data is already available to you. Pandey sir has exhaustively covered how many types of data sets will be there and where their sources also they elaborately sir has explained you. The same thing I'm not going to cover. Simply, sir, आप pass करते रहे. So fastly we can cover this open data and then only introduction to open data. I think it is not necessary now. So sir ने बता दिया already. Linked data I will talk about a little bit, and government data policies we will be talking about, and some case studies we will discuss. That's next, sir. Sir, next slide, sir. Yeah. Next. Because most of the things already covered. So what is open data? Once again, I think it is not needed. Sir has explained already. And what is data set also, Sir is explained, and the sources also, Sir is explained. Next thing. Yeah. So if you see this, what are the expected benefits from the open government data? This is already available to us in government gov.in something website is already there, and most of you are aware of this. Satna Smart City, they are more propagating on this open data, and they are conducting a series of events, and they are taking initiative to visiting their office also. So those who are residing in Satna, they are doing a very good job. So that students can be benefited and faculties also can be benefited, and it can be goes well. Coming to the point that So you will be getting a more expected benefit. One is transparency. So all this data is transparent and releasing social and commercial value. It have its own values. In case studies, deeper way we can see that. And participatory governance, also different governances coming into picture, and then how effectively you are using this by participating in using the data and reducing government costs. So if suppose in the case study we will see how private and government can tie up and they can do projects and how government can reduce their costs because it's already the data is available and it is transparent so that any private concern and they get an agreement with the government and using that data and then they can use selecting in a particular domain like for weather forecasting they can do and for healthcare they can do and they use the data already there and they conduct a case study kind of thing or they can analyze the data using tools like different tools SaaS or different softwares we have or even you can use in Hadoop platform, open platforms are already available so that you can process the data or even it is possible that we can club the data means different data sets also we can concatenate or we can what I can say uh, clustering using a clustering technique we can cluster whichever the output actually we intended to produce so accordingly you will be clustering the different data sets also so that way we can get a leverage of these things next thing. So if you see this, what is linked data? Linked data is about publishing and connectivity structure, structured data of like using web, standard web technologies to make it connections readable by computers, enabling the data from different sources. SAR also covered this, but we are calling it as a linked data. So how a machines can read the data and what kind of structured data it can, what if the machine can understand that format the data is available, for example, like this. So in this technically we are calling it as a linked data. That's it. So these are the terminology actually. You need not worry about the terminology much. So we will discuss some case studies so that you can understand very easily. Next thing, sir. So these are the basic characteristics. This is also covered by Pandey sir very well. Government data and linked data, how it is. The basic five characteristics are covered, six characteristics vastly. So that I think is not required. I think the next thing, sir. Open government data, what are the values like flexible data integration you can do, then increase in data quality you can do, and then new services we can launch, and then cost reduction. Obviously, when the tie-up will happen, different groups form together and then tie up like private and government agencies, and they can focus on a specific case like weather forecasting or healthcare or even rural development like agriculture sector also you can do wonders or you can do animal husbandry cases like many rural areas in India. So we have different cattle is already like cows and buffaloes or these kind of cattle like sheep, goats, all these. So they have different kinds of virus they are infected yeah, different periods of time because of the climate changes or because of many reasons. So if a private organization like or otherwise a college or educational institution can tie up with and already available data from the open data government portal and they can do a project kind of thing like so they will use the data or they may use in different data sets like clustering what we discussed and then meaningful decisions they can make it from this and then they can advise these people who are having this cattle and what kind of problems they are facing by analyzing this data and they'll come to know this what kind of seasonal diseases will come what is that is disease what the kind of disease they are facing for the cattle like different seasons different flu may come or different virus may be affected. So if we know using analyzing the data so that we can predict that oh exactly this scenario will happen or this scenario may be repeated so that we'll take a precaution and in advance. So like this, the case studies we will see. This is one kind of case study in that is very extensively used in successfully implemented in Europe and US also. So now they started implementing in Africa. The same thing we can do with the tie-up of this local engineering colleges or local technical institutions with smart city projects like Satna Smart City and using this government open data. So next thing, sir. Yeah, there's some of the questions like public agencies towards open government data, loss of revenue. A lot of questions also will arise, but we have answers for all these things also. So in the case study, I will explain you all this. Next, sir. Yeah, that's what I talked about. European Commission open data policy. Different governments have a different policies on this open data. For example, if you talking about healthcare domain, particularly in US, so they the once we are talking about natural healthcare data collectively in a large span, that is available. But at the same time, if suppose I am restricting my work on specific disease for a specific person, so it is not allowable. So that is a policy framework, because this where in according to US federal laws, what is happening is that whenever we are copying a data or whenever we are using a data, the policy says that the name of the person is not there, and then it will be stripped out, and then only the about the disease and what are the symptoms and other data we can access from the open data. So because the once again it comes to the personal protection, so person name is a personal protection there. If suppose for example we'll take a case of cancer, so we have a huge data regarding cancer, and regarding case studies, and regarding the reports also they will share, but except the stripped out of the names. So only this data available to you is in the data set that consists of the symptoms, that consists of the clinical studies on all these kind of data. So for getting a meaningful conclusion, suppose for fast data we are getting a open data your data set, and I am using for analyzing purpose, like using some kind of SAS tool. I'll be generating a report that what my prediction is that if this trend is goes on this, like how many what kind of age group is predominantly suffering with cancer, and in future what age group will be substantially become the victims of this, so that by analyzing this results, by comparing these results, what are the precautions we can take, so that doctors can decide, and they can set it as a report, so that we can share with everyone in a open data portal, so that everybody can access it and they can know that in advance that these are the symptoms of this, and in earlier stage these are the symptoms, so that we can take care of by using certain medications, or by taking care of healthy eating habits, like this is another kind of story on this healthcare. So same way, like Sar has already talked about weather forecasting and all. So there is an interesting project happening in US. That is like, for example, I'll take for example of Los Angeles. Take for example Florida. So there are most tsunami effects are there. So sometimes it is a hurricanes problem, sometimes tsunami problem, sometimes like this. So in advance anyhow the technology is very nice, and we can in advance of weeks and days we know that what is the weather going to change in which region, like this. So now the interesting part is that now there is a private, I talked about the private and the public tie up. So there actually one university has conducted this kind of project actually there. They tie up with the government data and using the government data, and both are having different teams, and they worked on this. And what they made is then they made an application, you can say mobile app also there, and even computer app also there. So they created an app. We using this app, this will be like a Google Maps. So it is coordinated with the Google Maps, and it will locate you whenever the emergency situation occurs like this. So how I can escape from this city to safer zone. So they will locate you which road is not blocked and which road is safe to travel to evacuate from this city. So all this in tie up with a Google Map, it can be everybody can access from their location. So that if is earlier they can see all these possibilities how they can safely escape from this city, so that many of this drastic loss may not occur. So this is one kind of project. They are taken very good results. So another case study I will share you, the financial case study. So many of the organizations, even in India, also they are conducting this financial domain. So they will be predicting what kind of market, how it will be fluctuate, and what kind of market, how it will be flourish. Oh, this I think not needed much detail. So many of them aware of this. They will be predicting how shares will be, which kind of shares will be upcoming, and which kind of mutual funds will be rating and all this. So that is already aware of this. And another important case studies I am suggesting is that this making in a point of rural area, and then particularly in agricultural sector. So we can do wonders actually tying up with using the open data. So all the farmers data will be there, and what kind of crop it will be there, and then what kind of soil it will be, from soil testing to ultimately your marketing that. So ये सब चीजें है ना एक ही प्लेस में by using past data, using open government site, and will analyze and will produce a reports that this kind of crop is very well suited, and the weather also very really sustainable for this crop in the coming months or coming monsoon or like this. All the forecasting will do and make a kind of reports, so that if they can access these reports, and they can safely they can select their own crop and marketing until marketing. So this is another domain we can explore more. So small projects are going on, but still there is a wide scope on this agriculture sector. Sir, I think with this case studies we can conclude, because only I am showing throwing an idea only. So all rest of the things are already covered by Pandey sir.
जी सर
Okay
बिल्कुल
sir.
सर.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for providing an excellent opportunity. Thank you, entire team of Satna Smart City. And we are waiting for more programs will be conducted, and more we can also participate from our end.
स्क्रैप बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद राव सर, आपने
Yes,
जो
sir.
जानकारी दी. हम अनुमान लगाते हैं कि बच्चों जो हमारे जो डेटा और जो साइंस से कंप्यूटर साइंस से जुड़े बच्चे हैं उनको ये कुछ आया होगा. और मैं लोगों से थोड़ा सा और बताना चाहूंगा कि जो भी इसका संक्षिप्त विवरण है हमारी भाषा में हमारे प्रोग्रामर कंप्यूटर जो हैं सतना स्मार्ट सिटी के श्याम जी संबोधित करेंगे.
Yes.
कि ये प्रोग्राम क्यों है, किस लिए है और इसका क्या जनता को फायदा मिलेगा, ये श्याम जी आगे इसको बताएंगे. श्याम प्लीज.
सर इसमें मैं एज अ सिटी डेटा ऑफिसर हम लोगों को एक आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव के उपलक्ष्य में एक ओपन डेटा वीक मनाया जा रहा था, जिसका आज आखिरी दिन है. इस पे एक वेबिनार या एक वर्कशॉप आयोजित की जानी थी, जो हमने अभी हम लोग कंटिन्यू कर रहे हैं. सर आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव में सतना स्मार्ट सिटी द्वारा जो ओपन डेटा वीक मनाया गया, जिसमें हमारे द्वारा 21 डेटा सेट्स हैं जो डिफरेंट स्टेक होल्डर्स और डिपार्टमेंट से कलेक्ट करने के बाद हमने इसको ओपन डेटा पोर्टल पे अपलोड किया है. साथ ही साथ अभी तक 2019-20 में जो डेटा सेट अपलोड किए गए थे, लगभग 60 डेटा सेट अपलोड किए गए थे, जिसमें डिफरेंट डिपार्टमेंट का ट्रैफिक रिलेटेड डेटा था. सतना से इंटीग्रेटेड कंट्रोल कमांड सेंटर में जो डेटा फैच हो रहा है वो डेटा था. हेल्थ केयर का डेटा था. बीच में 20 में कोविड का डेटा हम लोगों ने लाइव किया था. इलेक्ट्रिक डिपार्टमेंट, ऐसे मल्टीपल प्रॉपर्टी टैक्स से रिलेटेड डिपार्टमेंट, योजना शाखा जो हम लोगों के म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन की है, इससे रिलेटेड डिपार्टमेंट से रिलेटेड, और जो भी हमारे तमाम तरह के डिपार्टमेंट, सभी का डेटा हमने ओपन डेटा प्लेटफॉर्म पे लॉन्च किया था सर। इसके बाद वो जो 60 डेटा सेट्स थे, उसमें से हमारे 40 डेटा सेट्स अप्रूव्ड हैं, जो पीएमयू टीम बैठती है मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ हाउसिंग एंड अर्बन अफेयर द्वारा, उसमें 40 डेटा सेट्स हम लोगों के अप्रूव हैं, जो कि पब्लिक है, पब्लिकली अवेलेबल है। साथ ही साथ 2021 और 22 में जो अभी हम लोगों ने डेटा वीक मनाया है, इस डेटा वीक में 4 डे के अंदर हम लोगों ने 21 डेटा सेट फिर से नए अपलोड किए हैं। ये डेटा डेटा सेट्स जो है अंडर अप्रूवल में है। विद इन 2-3 डेज के अंदर ये डेटा पब्लिकली अवेलेबल हो जाएंगे। तो हमारी यही इस वेबिनार और जो वर्कशॉप है, इसके थ्रू हमें लोगों को यही बताना था कि कैसे ओपन डेटा प्लेटफॉर्म पे आने के बाद जो रिसर्च प्रोजेक्ट हैं, जो हमारे इंक्यूबेटर हैं और भी तमाम तरह के लोग हैं, कैसे इस डेटा को यूटिलाइज कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि ये डेटा डायरेक्ट पर्टिकुलर डिपार्टमेंट से लेकर के ओपन डेटा प्लेटफॉर्म पे लॉन्च किया गया है। पहले डेटा वेरीफाई होता है, इसके बाद ही लॉन्च होता है। तो डेटा की जो अथेंटिसिटी है वो कहीं ना कहीं इंक्रीज हो जाती है। एक्चुअल डेटा हमको ओपन डेटा प्लेटफॉर्म पे मिलने से जो ट्रांसपेरेंसी की जो चीजें, वो भी बहुत ज्यादा इस डेटा में रहती है। दूसरी चीज है, सतना स्मार्ट सिटी द्वारा जो लाइव डेटा प्लेटफॉर्म अभी ओपन डेटा पोर्टल पे अपलोड किया गया है, कोविड से रिलेटेड एक डेटा सेट्स है जिसको विजुअलाइज करके अपलोड किया गया है सर। इसमें शायद आप लोगों ने देखा होगा, हम लोगों का एक कोविड लाइव डेटा प्लेटफॉर्म करके एक डैशबोर्ड बना हुआ है, जिसमें सभी सतना के जितने भी वार्ड वाइज हम लोगों ने इसको बाइफरकेशन किया हुआ है कि किस वार्ड में कितने कोविड के पेशेंट मिले हैं, और वार्ड को हमने 3 कैटेगरी में कोविड पेशेंट के अकॉर्डिंग डिवाइड कर दिया गया है। एक ग्रीन जोन है, रेड जोन है और एक है येलो जोन। इसमें ग्रीन जोन उन वार्डों को चिन्हित किया गया है जिसमें 0 पेशेंट है, और सेकेंड में जो येलो जोन है उसमें 1 से 5 पेशेंट के बीच में डिवाइड किया गया है, तथा 5+ पेशेंट को हमने रेड जोन में कन्वर्ट किया हुआ है। इस प्रकार से हमने एक हीट मैप बनाया हुआ है, जो कि ओपन डेटा प्लेटफॉर्म पे ये हीट मैप भी 2 से 3 दिन बाद ये शायद पब्लिश हो जाएगा, हम लोगों ने उन्हें दे दिया है कोर्स। और दूसरी चीज, सतना स्मार्ट सिटी द्वारा और भी ऐसे डेटा सेट्स अपलोड किए हैं, जैसे सतना स्मार्ट सिटी में हम लोगों ने एक ओपन सर्वे कराया था, सिटीजन पार्टिसिपेशन कराया था, जिसमें करीब 300+ लोगों ने पार्टिसिपेट किया था। अलग अलग लोगों ने अलग अलग सेक्टर्स में अपनी प्रॉब्लम्स हमें बताई थी, तो उनमें भी हमने उसको 5 कैटेगरी में डिवाइड करके इसको ओपन डेटा प्लेटफॉर्म पे लेके आ रहे हैं। तो उससे पता चले कि हमें किस सेक्टर में सबसे ज्यादा पहले काम करना चाहिए, किस सेक्टर में हमें काम नहीं, फर्स्ट प्रायोरिटी में, सेकेंड प्रायोरिटी, थर्ड प्रायोरिटी, इस टाइप से भी हम लोग उसको आगे हम सतना स्मार्ट सिटी द्वारा किए जा रहे कार्यों को आगे इस सीक्वेंस में कर सकते हैं। तो ये ही एक उद्देश्य था कि सतना के लोगों को पता चले कि ओपन डेटा प्लेटफॉर्म जो मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ हाउसिंग एंड अर्बन अफेयर द्वारा लॉन्च किया गया है, उसके क्या बेनिफिट्स हो सकते हैं। अभी सभी 100 स्मार्ट सिटीज में पार्टिसिपेट किए हैं, सभी का डेटा ऑनलाइन है। इसमें तमाम तरह के डेटा आपको मिल सकते हैं, और इस डेटा के थ्रू आप एनालिसिस कर सकते हैं। स्टूडेंट से गुजारिश है कि अपने जो थीसिस और प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं, उस डेटा का एनालिसिस करके इसका मतलब फायदा ले सकते हैं, एक्चुअल डेटा कि सतना में क्या रिक्वायरमेंट है, किस चीज की कमी है। इस टाइप से जो डिसीजन मेकिंग एबिलिटी बढ़ाने के लिए भी इस डेटा का बहुत अच्छा यूज किया जा सकता है। तो यही इसका उद्देश्य था सर। और मैं सबसे पहले डॉक्टर सरोज पांडे सर को भी थैंक यू करना चाहूंगा, जो इसमें पार्टिसिपेट किया। साथ ही साथ मैं डॉक्टर एस राव सर को भी थैंक यू करना चाहूंगा सर। और हमारे साथ जितने भी लोग जुड़े हैं, सतना से हैं, सतना के बाहर से हैं, स्टूडेंट्स भी हैं, कुछ हमारे साथ इंक्यूबेटर्स भी जुड़े हुए हैं, जबलपुर से हैं, सतना से हैं, अदर सिटी से हैं, पूरे विंध्याचल से लोग जुड़े हुए हैं। इनको सभी को मैं धन्यवाद करना चाहूंगा कि आज आप लोगों ने इतना अच्छा इस प्रोग्राम में पार्टिसिपेट किया। और थैंक यू सर। ये आज
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद श्याम। और अभी जो हमारे कंप्यूटर प्रोग्रामर कम सीडीओ है सतना स्मार्ट सिटी के, श्याम द्वारा इसको विस्तृत रूप में बताया गया कि ओपन डेटा वीक क्या है, इसको क्यों चलाया जा रहा है, इसके बेनिफिट्स क्या हैं, और हम अपेक्षा करते हैं इस ओपन डेटा का लोग पब्लिक की लोग उपयोग करेंगे और अपने लिए इसको लाभकारी बनाएंगे, और हमारे जनता और सरकार के बीच में इससे पारदर्शिता बढ़ेगी। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आप सभी का, फिर से धन्यवाद।
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you.